Yo, what's good, everybody? How American guns get smuggled to the Mexican cartels. Big shout out to the big man above. Let's get to the video.
I do get firearms, I send them across the border, make money for myself from that, other people make money from it. Today I'm going to discuss how guns are brought from the United States into Mexico.
Would you say you have a dangerous job?
Yeah, probably the most dangerous you can have. It's literally just storing it away and sending it about its way. So my mom was in jail, I need to put food on the plate. I ended up sending it to somebody who ended up taking it to California and making money off of it, so everybody ate at the end of the day.
2009-10 was like our wild, wild west days out here where we were in chases every day.
And what are the odds someone has eyes on us right now?
Oh, pretty good, dude, because these are all scout hills.
At what age would you say you officially joined an organization?
So I was about 10, 11 years old.
We spoke with a cartel member last night that alleged that
10 or 11 years old. And you know he got bodies. Come on, Chad.
one of the ways it gets through is paying off Border Patrol, paying off
his KD ratio gotta be crazy.
police.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that.
What is the cost to buy a Border Patrol agent?
$9,700.
In a good month, how many guns can you get across the border?
I want to say close to that. Yes, it is.
The power Mexican cartels have accumulated is hard to fathom. With Jalisco New Generation Cartel and the Sinaloa Cartel leading the charge, these paramilitary crime syndicates have global reach. They are heavily armed, deeply connected, and absolutely ruthless. Specializing in drug trafficking, human
Bro, about Tommy G in that room, bro, my eyes look like The Simpsons all day long, bro. Somehow just paranoid.
smuggling, extortion, and more, these organizations pull in billions of dollars every year. And the United States plays a part in this because the ugly truth behind some of their power is American guns. Now, as Americans, we get mad about the fentanyl flooding across our border. But what about our guns that are flooding into Mexico? In this episode, we expose the pipeline. From cartel operators to U.S. gun smugglers running thousands of firearms across the border to the law enforcement agents fighting to stem the flow. These folks are the players in this deadly supply chain of power and violence. And would you believe that some of our own three-letter agencies might be involved? This is the story of
I think we all knew that, bro.
how American guns end up in the hands of Mexican cartels.
Cash Bodyguard donated $2. UNC Tommy gotta be one of the boldest dudes we know on YT.
Facts, dog. Facts. But he got that good aura, bro. He got that good vibe, that very inviting type of person, bro. Personality, you know what I mean? Like, he's one of the people that, you know, you be with your homeboys and everything. He cool. He gonna supply the weed. You know what I'm talking about, bro? I'll smoke on him. You know what I'm talking about? Bring the bottle and everything. I do not condone this stuff. Just saying. He's one of them guys, bro. He's just a cool dude.
What's up, brother? Good to meet you. Is it true that different people in the game are on the run right now?
Oh yeah, most of the people I know just either their people either got hit by, one of the three people that were going out there raiding people, or just had some shit happen, or some people didn't know how to do it, and they gotta go on the run. So Mexico is just the go-to right now. States are too hot. State troopers, Border Patrol up in Phoenix.
There's a whole Draco.
So do you have a fear that if you did a bad business transaction that someone would come looking for you?
Look at this,
I
y'all.
don't fear for my life at all in this situation, is because throughout this whole business, I've been clean business. I see myself as a way of just normal, civilian that's out here just trying to make money. So you're gonna have the gun itself, where the gun is, who's the one that's either gonna get it or who has it. I go buy that off that person at a price where I can make a profit for myself. So I send someone into a store to go get something from me, and I have my people that I sell it to at a pretty good markup.
Bro, do I got any Mexican people in Mexico? Oh, you ain't gotta be Mexican. Do I got any like supporters who actually live in Mexico and going through this type of stuff with the cartel? Like, yes. Like that. Like. Okay.
Send it to one of their kind of workers, drivers, and just get taken out of Mexico in like units.
So you don't physically drive across the border?
No.
Hey, I know he is. He said C-S-I.
Would you say
Woody
you have a
Pooty
dangerous
donated
job?
$2.
Yeah, probably the most dangerous you can have.
Yo, Cash, I live in South Texas, VY, the border, and grew up with a lot of friends who turned to the cartel members in high school. I would say they see them in new cars every week from their money. Cartels have border patrols. They are a big reason why they cross so easily.
Because you're not just dealing with, legal issues, you're also dealing with territorial issues.
For those not familiar, the Sinaloa cartel is one of Mexico's most feared and notorious drug cartels. It was led for years by El Chapo Guzman, a ruthless kingpin famous for running a global crime empire and escaping a Mexican prison in 2015 through a mile-long tunnel. He was recaptured in 2016 and extradited to the United States, where he's now being held in ADX Florence, America's most secure prison. He's locked up alongside people like infamous gang leader Larry Hoover and the Boston Marathon bomber. And with El Chapo behind bars, Sinaloa's future has never looked more uncertain. But make no mistake that from Chicago to California, Omaha to Phoenix, the Sinaloa reach is still quite powerful.
Here's my thing right here, bro. You know it's somebody else bigger than El Chapo. We just don't know him. Or do we? Think about that one.
Eflux donated $2. These cartel dudes worse than the dudes in Iraq. They be skinning people and putting beheaded heads on top of highways hanging.
Yeah, I
Dog,
know. I know he
this
flux.
ain't it.
That's why I don't play with, bro. They had an influencer, bro, who was talking down on a head cartel dude, bro. Bro, they can't got him. Crazy. Thought it was sweet on the neck. Talking, boy, he crazy.
All right, folks, we have a sheriff pulling up from Pinal County. He's had a lot of experience in the field. We're going to be interviewing him as well. You
Yo,
have
Cash, I've
the
been watching
wildest
for at
collection
least
of
8
patches
years
that I
now,
think I've
and I
ever seen.
graduate next
If
week.
we interviewed a cartel
I just
member
wanted to
last
say you're
night,
the
what are the
goat.
odds that he would be Sinaloa given
Congratulations
the
on your
control
early graduation,
He's not
fam.
Sinaloa.
Your life just now about to get started, brother. Don't go this route. All right? Go the good route, bro. But yeah, this is where the bill's going to really start to hit, dog. So be ready, bro. Embrace it. But congratulations, though. Real talk. That's a big achievement, bro.
He's risking his life.
What's your process to do it?
It's literally just destroying
look
it
at
away,
them bullets.
sending it about its way.
And
Look
are
at them
you
bullets!
physically driving it in a car, or do you have other people do that?
No, there's a chain of command and there's people that do that. You can go into a gun store right now and buy, your typical mini-me, something like that for $9,000. But if it falls out the back of the truck, I can get it for $5,000.
Do you work for one primary cartel, or do you freelance amongst many?
Just one.
Is there any difference in how difficult it is to do business from the Biden administration to the Trump administration?
There might be a couple hiccups, but it's all business. It's all the same. Honestly, it's crazy. I can't imagine the border right now. People are scared to go across more than ever before. The risk and the paranoia of it, because some of this shit is they'll load your car up with 20 blocks. And imagine trying to drive across the border, thinking that, and then if the X-ray's gonna pick you up, shit like that. I guess it's nerve-wracking, Once the border got tighter, things are hard to do. Get into America, you know what I mean?
Was it actually that easy with Biden as president?
I felt like there was a lot more things coming in.
Is it noticeably more difficult now that Trump is in office?
Yeah.
Under the Biden administration, it was a free flow of everything. The people have stopped coming across so much. I mean, we're way down. I think we were at about 7,000 to 12,000 a week, and we're at 300 to 700 a week now.
At what age would you say you officially joined an organization?
So I was about 10, 11 years old.
Yeah. Can I get one of those on the table? I don't think, bro, come on. Yeah.
Yes, apparently.
There was a study done by the U.S. government from the Government Accountability Office
Sheesh.
that found that 70% of firearms found in Mexico traced their roots to America. Does that surprise you?
That's probably lowballing it.
You think it might even be closer to 80, 90?
No, if anything, I feel like it would be a larger number.
Closer to 80, 90% maybe?
Yeah, probably closer to 90.
How much power do the cartels have in places like this in Arizona?
On the American side, they are very smart businessmen, right? They don't, they're getting a little more overt about their stuff, but you just don't have a lot of in-your-face like you do in Mexico, right? We don't have rolling gun battles here. Sinaloa holds pretty good control of our state. They have not given it up, and they've been here a lot of years.
Are there people in America that are officially part of a cartel, or is that only if you live in Mexico?
It's going to stretch all over the world. We'll just put it that way.
Now, according to Arizona law, these gun smugglers could face up to 10 years in prison if caught for the crime. But what's interesting to me is the same U.S. government that will hammer these guys for selling guns also like to sell a lot of guns overseas themselves. This has happened a lot of times in recent history, but let's just
This good journalism, bro. He letting everybody have it. W.
highlight a couple of recent examples. Take the Soviet-Afghani conflict in the 1980s. The
Watch
CIA
Aiden and Neon versus Ashton Hall. Bro, they did a two versus one.
funneled tens of thousands of guns to the Afghan fighters, the Mujahideen, to win the battle against the dreaded Soviets, our enemy at the time. Fast forward a few years later, the same Mujahideen fighters that we armed with the guns that we gave him, some of these guys later turned into the Taliban, which was really good for the military-industrial complex because this fueled another 20 years of war and profit. And most recently for the United States politicians and arms manufacturers, we have sent billions to Ukraine and Israel, which some could say the US taxpayer is indirectly responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of people, including
Man, look,
women.
y'all, we need to be grateful, y'all. I hate to keep pausing it out, but we need to be grateful where we at, bro. Especially us people in America, bro. Bro, this is how people living. Look at this.
Is
Bro, see these flies, bro?
indirectly responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of people, including women and children. So while a low-level smuggler might spend a decade behind bars for moving a few rifles across the border, the corporations and politicians who benefit from this arms dealing will walk free. Because when the violence is industrialized, it's no longer a crime. It's just good business. Is there any misrepresentation of the American media about the cartels? Like basically that they're horrifying terrorist organizations?
It's not how they picture it though. It's so media is so brainwashed and they say, oh, the cartel, it so runs this whole area and if you go there, they're gonna kill you or this and that. Yeah, the cartel might run a specific area, but as long as you're there and you're not causing no trouble or you're not out there to steal from nobody or just sell anything, you know what I mean? If you're just there on good terms and like checking in, everything be good.
Do you think that's a fair picture American media makes of them?
No, that's easy to label something that you can tax. We gotta take care of our own people, you know?
Exactly, bro. I'm gonna tell y'all something, bro. When I went to what's a popular spot that everybody like to go to do summer in Mexico? Cabo. I'm gonna tell y'all something, bro. And I'm paranoid, bro. So I'm talking to people over there, and the people say, yeah, man, the cartel, they run this area out here. You got people out there like trying to sell you stuff on the beach and everything. But they was trying to tell me, say, why would they want to go and harass their people, like their customers? Let's say if they own the hotels, right? Why would they want bad business to spread around? It will cause people not to go to their hotels. So it'd be a bad investment on them. If anything, they want the tourists to have a great time when they're coming in. So that's what the people was trying to explain to me who lived there. And it makes sense.
The government ain't helping. We see
They want to protect those people, make sure they have a good experience, keep coming back.
Bombers or people in the United States go do mass shootings and get their agenda across or anything. Most of the things that cartels do, unless it's someone in America that was working with them and fucked over somehow.
Yep, the resorts, facts.
He was a person in America.
The resort I went to
about
was
Trump
amazing,
potentially
beautiful.
labeling cartels as terrorist
I
organizations?
slept good.
That he should start here with the people on this side.
What do you think would happen if Trump tried invading Mexico or drone striking cartel operations?
It's not happening yet.
Currently in the news, the US and the Trump administration is considering using drone strikes against the Mexican cartels. But how do we know if these stories are biased, how they're being framed politically, if we're getting the right scoop on what we're being told?
Woody
This is where the sponsor of today's video comes in, Ground
Mexico
News.
is a
What they
rich
do is
country, but the cartels have power in the government and don't let it flourish. My cousin-in-law got picked up and beheaded 'cause he did a job and didn't fulfill it.
Boy, what? You can chill in Mexico, but just stay in your lane. I got some crazy stories. Woody. Damn. That boy said Cuzzo.
thousands of stories across the internet and compile them, and they rate the reliability of the story.
Marcellus! What's good, my boy? Hey, Marcel, I'm going to see you at the next chapter, bro. I'm going for Lance Stevenson, bro. Got him winning. Let's get my boy.
Based off the political bias of the source, which is very helpful because they give us an indication of the reliability of the stories that we're hearing. Just take these stories about drone strikes. Most of the outlets covering this are center or lean right. And Ground News lets you compare these headlines side by side. Take this left-leaning source that says drone strikes will lead to another Vietnam, and take this right-wing source that gives the counterpoint that cartels are using drones to spy on US troops. One of my favorite parts about Ground News is their blind spot feed. What it does is it shows me stories that I might not receive based off the biases I might have or how my algorithm is structured, and it shows me more.
Trying to pay bills. Ha ha! That was smooth. Tommy G, you hanging around too many Negroes. That was a smooth right there, bro.
Very, very much like the Italian mafia. They are very family oriented.
Nothing but the Tide donated $2.
The Mexican side
You
of my
ever
family,
been to
we have
Hong
family
Kong and
gatherings all the
Tijuana,
time. We have carne asada.
UNC? Finest females I ever seen. Don't tell Auntie I
I
told
know what you're talking
you.
about. I know what you're talking about. No, I don't never want to travel there.
As we get together and play loteria, all this kind of stuff. The difference being when they go to work, it could be to go skin somebody alive that's their enemy, This road in particular is a major smuggling route, and I've had a lot of chases on this route.
And what road are we on right now?
We're on Stanfield Road. These mountaintops will have scouts on them. So all of these valleys out here can have routes where they are pushing people and product up, and they use those routes. The scouts guide the loads. When they get up here to kind of the civilization, that's when they'll hit these regular routes,
That's what I'm
blacktop
saying,
routes,
Crazy
go on
Mike.
the freeway, shoot up into Phoenix,
Trying to get me
Phoenix
beheaded,
becomes the hub.
And what are the odds
I ain't
someone
trying to
died
do
on
much
us
cousin
right
too,
now?
brother. RP to your cousin, bro. I don't want to seem like I'm taking it lightly, bro.
Oh, pretty good, dude, because these are all scout hills.
Why is torture used so often amongst the cartels?
Pain is the best teacher.
Facts. Real rap.
So you're a runner, go to a gun
Hey, rap.
store, get it. Let's say it's me. If I get flagged, okay, that's a mission that went astray. If not, how often would you send a guy like me to get it again and again and again?
I mean, I've had people that, you wouldn't believe the number of stuff they got out under the name. It's really kind of strategic in a way, because the way the background checks work is it will show up as, either a pistol or a rifle. It doesn't go into the system as that specific firearm unless the ATF is flagged and involved. You could have someone go store to store.
Leilave donated $2. Would you ever do a vid with Tommy G like this?
For you, if someone in your family.
No.
That has died from gun violence in Mexico.
Yeah,
Do you blame the guys in America selling the guns?
I don't. I just blame the shooter, really.
How do you feel about being involved in a business that arms the cartel?
It sounds worse than it is in a way. I mean, you think about it is, what I'm doing is basically doing what larger corporate companies have done with other third world countries. Taliban has all guns made in the USA. What I do is I still make those people money. The big corporate, big gun industry still gets money from me, but I also make some money myself in a way by just doing what they're already doing, but on a smaller scale. Even if I stopped what I was doing, someone would just come and fill in for me. Might as well try to make my money that way.
He's going to keep on, that's what he's saying.
So gun
Bills gotta get
smugglers
paid,
will
ladies
risk
and gentlemen.
prison time for a few $1,000s of profit a month. But what about the big players in what some would call the military-industrial complex? Let's just look at the Russia-Ukraine war, for example. Lockheed Martin's stock hit an all-time high. Raytheon's production lines are going off the charts. Billions of dollars in weapons have flowed across the Ukraine border and across the European nations that are gearing up, looking to refill their arsenal in what has proven to be one of the biggest spending sprees in defense since the Cold War. Now this is where the gray area comes in. Is this right? Is this wrong? Because whether you look at Ukraine, Israel, Afghanistan, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. I don't know the answer to all this, but what I do know as a tax-paying citizen is what I've gotten out of the deal are dead soldiers, civilians, destruction, a bad reputation globally, while these companies in the military-industrial complex have reaped the profits in the billions.
Yes.
Well, I don't think the gun manufacturers make the guns.
That's crazy. You think about that, y'all. Them boys just getting money in, bro. It's profiting off wars, confusion. But not talking about the dead bodies, though. People losing their lives over this, man.
To give to bad guys to like rape, pillage, and carnage their own countries. So I don't think that's a good way of looking at it.
What made you choose this job over anything else you could have done?
Honestly, the thrill of it in a way, and just a large interest in guns.
Yeah, I own guns,
The
though.
money's there. I got lucky with, finding some people. Honestly, I think this is a lot morally acceptable than drugs, safer than drugs, less corrupt, less dangerous,
My mom was in jail. I needed to put food on the plate. And then once people started offering me guns for product, and tremendously, no product was damn near getting a gun for free. That's really what changed my eyes, because of some kid who went and robbed the car and found this a gun in the car, and he was scared to have it at home. So he came to me and he said he didn't want that. He'd rather have a little bit of weed.
How much weed do you think you gave him?
Probably 7 grams. And that same night,
7 grams for a gun. That's 2 duck packs, bro. For a gun is crazy, dog.
I ended up selling it to somebody who ended up taking it to California and making money off of it. So everybody ate at the end of the day.
2009-10 was like our wild, wild west days out here, where we were in chases every day.
The car's still
stolen vehicles
moving.
going south. So they would go to Phoenix. They could have a stolen vehicle out of West Phoenix down here within about 40 minutes. And so they would run stolen south. They would cross them over because there's parts of the border just south of us that are just
Boy, try to
barbed wire
get out of
fence
there,
like
man.
this. So they would cut that shit, drive across, and drive the stolen into Mexico, load it up with dope, and then drive it back northbound under the dark of night. And so we would be out here in night chases with them, going after blacked out vehicles, chasing them through the desert, trying to get them before they
Woody
got to I-8. The
donated
scouts would all
$2.
Look at her.
going after blacked out vehicles, chasing
Why you got your purse, man?
them through the desert, trying to get them before they got to I-8. The scouts would all coordinate their movement. So we would have counter scout operations where us and Border Patrol would work together.
Cash, you good. As long as you don't diss, then you good. Bro, I don't diss the cartel at all, man. I know. Yeah. Went to a strip club before, man. I actually got cool with a cartel guy, man. Some of them chill. Yeah, he was a chill dude. He paid for all the drinks. He didn't know who I was. He want to hang with a fellow black person, bro. Well, not say fellow, but he was Mexican, but he was cool people, man. I got a good friend in Los Metros cartel, but I don't hang out with them because they are at war right now, and their war is just to gain territory for business and drugs.
To try and take the scouts off the hills when we knew loads were coming, so that they were flying blind essentially. And then under the last presidential administration, it was so wide open that they didn't need any of that stuff. Nobody was stopping them. So, and there were so many of them
was in
that
Oakland,
there was just a
California the
flood
other
of
day,
people
and when
coming
I was
through.
riding down the road, it was like 10 Dodge police cars chasing a Latino kid that looked like 16. Crazy.
Flood of dope coming through. Border Patrol was cast out in all these other areas. It was like Thermopylae for us, man. I mean, we were up against, tens of thousands of people, and it's really not even our job, right? The immigration piece is not the sheriff's job, but we were stuck with a lot of this stuff. Our military was essentially teaching other countries how to defend their country, right? And
guys, we got to cover some more cartel history because American guns are not the only thing that the United States has contributed towards the rise and dominance of Mexican cartels. Let's take you back to the mid-90s to Fort Benning, Georgia at the School of Americas, where for decades and still today, this was a place where Latin American military forces were brought to practice skills in things like urban warfare, interrogation tactics, and psychological warfare. The School of Americas has since been renamed due to many former students committing various coups and human rights violations across Central and South America. Classes here are taught in Spanish and oftentimes led by U.S. Green Berets. One of the groups that was trained here was GAFE, one of Mexico's elite special forces groups whose job it was to raid high-value targets and combat narcotics operations. In the 90s, about 30 of the GAFE guys eventually defected from the Mexican military to work for the Gulf Cartel, which they later left to create their own and one of the most feared cartels of all time, Los Zetas.
Boy, what? Bro, they paint cold, by the way.
Groups whose job it was to raid high-value targets and combat narcotics operations. In the 90s, about 30 of the GAFE guys eventually defected from the Mexican military to work for the Gulf Cartel, which they later left to create their own and one of the most feared cartels of all time.
Boy, so these are trained operatives. They went to go start their own. Man, what? These are trained to kill professionals.
Los Zetas. Now, the majority of scholars agree that this was not some CIA psyop on purpose, but rather an unintended consequence on the part of the United States. However, there are known cases of former Special Forces guys being put on cartel payroll to teach their soldiers and sicarios advanced tactics. Just food for thought as we look at the history of how some of these cartels came to be. What's been your biggest month in revenue so far?
I think the best run I had is I made 70K in 4 months.
How did that feel?
Amazing. I never felt that level of accomplishment.
I can see that boy teeth through the mask where he said
Have you ever been visited by a 3-letter agency?
Allegedly.
How was that?
Pressuring, in a way. One of the things you want to do
Divinity
with that
XX
is
donated
you want to have them
$2.
talk to you.
Cash, I live in Laredo, Texas. I
doing
just
that, I
moved
was able
here,
to
and in
find
less
out
than
more
6
what
months,
they
I've
knew
seen
about
about
me.
50 people getting smuggled. I have the videos.
That is crazy,
Woody
bro.
Pooty donated $2. My cousins in Mexico tell me that they have be home by 11 cuz that's when their war resumes, and if they catch you while at war, you are bound to get picked up. In the morning you see the blood and
Blood in the aftermath, and this is a common thing for them? Bro, y'all living that life out there, bro.
Where also I reflected where I went.
Bet delete what videos? You talking about? What y'all talking about, bro? Oh, you talking about the people getting smuggled? Yeah, hey, they got nothing to do with me. I don't know him. Hey!
Eflux donated $2. It's gotten to
I
the
don't know
point
who-
where I don't even talk shit online no more with all these cartels and how the internet is. It'll take me one time going outside for a smoke, and I'm smoked.
That's why I'm choosing my words lightly here, bro.
Wrong. Other factors and how much they knew.
Cartel don't play, bro.
So you kind of stayed silent and let them talk.
Yeah.
this is the Obama solution here.
So someone could be camping out here and someone's hustling a load.
Yeah, and we've had that happen where there's been people out here either hunting or just camping for a weekend, and they'll have a stolen vehicle in the middle of a chase, run right through their campsite and blasting up here to the interstate to get away from the cops. And so this whole area is kind of, again, just like the other area, all the high points, you're gonna have scouts. There's usually scouts on this hill, and there's scouts a little bit deeper in, and so they're watching over the valleys.
The cartel member we spoke with last night said that if drone strikes were taken against the cartel, we really escalated against them, there would be a ripple effect where they're gonna escalate the violence here and try and, I mean, do you see that as a potential chess move that really results badly for the American citizens?
No. If they just look historically, at the U.S., they would understand that that's a really stupid statement to make. I think it was Japan that woke up the dragon, right? I don't think they understand what they're saying. Like, that's fine to say, and there's a lot of machismo in that. Like, hey, if you mess with me, you come after my family, I'll come after your family. That's all fun and good. But when you go to war on the U.S., that's a whole different level of fucking with us that we're not going to put up with. And I don't think they understand the hate that would come their way if something like that were to happen.
Do you ever have sympathy for some of these guys that like, hey, while I don't agree with what you're doing, I get why you're in your own situation?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know, again, having a wife that's Mexican, there's some of her family that are involved in some of this stuff. I don't hate them. You know, it's family, and they're doing what they think they need to do to get by. And
that's real. That boy said his wife is Mexican. He got family members, probably brothers or cousins, the thing. It's the way of living out there. That's crazy, bro. That's real though. That's real.
Again, it's all circumstantial, man. What you're facing in your life and how you're dealing with it, I definitely have sympathy for that. I don't think it's right for them to do what they're doing, to get their money or to get ahead or whatever, but I can't fault them for trying to get ahead and do well for their family.
Bills gotta be
in
paid!
American media, like, it's almost like these guys are monsters. Like, are these guys just normal people in a way?
Yeah, they're normal guys and gals in the sense that, you know, just like us standing here, we can sit and have a conversation. Now, in the right circumstances, would one of them kill me if they could? Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't get real personal. They're just trying to do their thing, and so it is what it is, man.
So you would have survived on your own from an early age?
Hey, that's a cool officer right there, bro.
My sisters, really, it was really my sisters.
I wish I had him that put me over today. Guarantee I wouldn't got a ticket or profile.
Hold it down. Once I seen like the pressure put on them, it takes a toll on you and me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the youngest of 9. When my mom was locked up and my father passed away, you know what I'm saying? It was really just me and my siblings. And I have my older brothers don't have papers, they're in Mexico, you get me? And one of them already died. So it's just me and my sisters, and then I have a
Woody
brother who really
Pooty donated $2.
So I really had to,
I've got another
either
Posween Law who was a
step in or
coyote
step out.
aka Smuggler who was making 10 bands a week, and I was not okay with it till he started buying me shoes and food, and I was chilling. Law.
Yo, Woody. We get it, dog. We know you out there, man. Hey, bro, just saying, bro. It might be, I may be watching the videos, man. You know, just trying to keep you, bro, Woody. Hopefully, it ain't your real name, Woody.
Once you get into
my
this,
boy said he got
money is here.
videos.
This is really what makes you, a little bit as that extra, especially now in this society where the bills take up everything, all the money you make, every job you have, every dollar you make is gonna go to a bill. You get me?
Come on! Come on! At the end of the day,
every job you have, every dollar you make is gonna go to a bill.
I'm telling y'all, man, these bills right here, y'all, it's traumatizing. It's the worst type of PTSD, bro. These bills would never stop coming. They won't stop, no matter how rich you are. Bills are due every single day. It's all about how much you try to be ahead of the bills at this point. When you're born, C-section, anything, circumcision, everything's a bill. Woohoo. And don't you try to get in debt and try to yourself. Oh, man, that bill being passed over to your significant other or your family members. That bill would be paid some type of way. Bro, when you go, they got a casket. Somebody got to pay for that. Bro, I just want to make it to the heaven gates, bro, so I ain't got to look at a bill ever again, bro. No subscription bill, no gym bill, no, just free. Free.
You get me? At least now, right here, I'm able to feed my family, pay my bills, and still, go have some fun.
Bills making these dudes do this, bro.
Crazy 007 donated $2.
Right now,
Woody said he was nervous
look like
around those
hammered
people
dog
until
shit,
he
man.
started going to nice restaurants and everything. Law.
Hey, babe. Hello?
They just beat up because they've been hiking for 4 or 5 days through the mountains. A lot of times they're drinking a concoction of like meth and fentanyl and cocaine, and so they're all wired up, not feeling shit, like meth and fentanyl through the mountains. A lot of times they're drinking a concoction of
Drinking a concoction?
like meth and
Methamphetamine.
fentanyl and cocaine.
Fentanyl and cocaine. Bro, what? What type of drink
So
is
they're
this?
all wired up, not feeling shit.
Bro, what type of drink? Bro.
Rattlers and stray bullets will get you every time. So you can see there's kind of a depression here and kind of bushes and stuff like that. You can see how the grass is kind of beat down, which means there's been people in here. And then you'll start seeing the black bottles that's traditionally smuggler trash. They carry the black bottles with water all the way up from Mexico. There's parts in Mexico where they're buying all this stuff. They're buying the camouflage, they're buying the black bottles.
And what goes in the black bottles?
Water. They black them out so that they're not shiny, visible. And so you'll see them kind of scattered throughout here. You should start seeing some of the clothing and stuff. So they've, like, by the time they get to this point, they've already been backpacking for 4 or 5 days up from Mexico. Then they get here, and this is kind of their final staging point where they will kind of hang out and wait for a ride to come get them. And so typically speaking, this is where they kind of discard their clothing.
No, man, I want to see no vids, bro. I don't want to see no, bro. See nothing, hear nothing, speak no.
Discard any trash that they have and jump in their ride and go. So they'll get in this little cut here, and you can kind of see from the grass pressed down, they'll just get in here, rest, and wait for their ride to come get them. And I mean, we're 10 yards off of Interstate 8, and so car will pull up, give a signal, they'll jump out of this spot, go load into the car real quick, and then they're off and running. One thing they did start doing too is when they know that we are onto them because of the stuff they're leaving behind, they would start collecting it all into a trash bag or whatever, and then they would have one person take it off 100 couple yards away so that it didn't give away their position as much.
Do you have any opinion of the new Mexican president, Sheinbaum? Like, has she changed things at all with how you guys do business?
Money talks.
So it's business and you.
That's it. He gave you the answer right there. There you go. Crazy, man. Crazy.
Usual Mexico officials are being paid off, forces are getting paid off, and business keeps going.
Yeah.
How hard is it to bribe a police officer?
Here?
Well, yeah, I guess compare America and Mexico.
That's the same.
You can bribe people here?
Not yet.
What percent of cops in border towns in Arizona would you say are in some ways paid off?
At least 3/4.
At least 3.
Hold on, Chad. That is 3/4? Hello? Cash really got a whole ass cut out of him. Bro. Let me tell you something, brother. Look here, brother. You see this guy right here? And this is why I want this to sit in your mind, bro. See this guy right here? He's paying a bill. Ladies and gentlemen, you think because he looked like me, smiling, think he ain't paying a bill? Why? How you think he got here? Because he was a deal. Jose Cuervo. I did a sponsorship for him years ago. It was part of the deal. Not even me. I cut out myself. It's gonna escape not paying a bill in this mug. You hear me? Bills!
$3/4?
Oh yeah.
And how much
I
does
need
it
to
cost
jump
to
in.
buy a cop?
It just depends. If it's a one-time thing, you throw them a couple grand. And if it's an ongoing thing, you put them on the salary, you give them, $3 or $4 grand a month.
There's really that many American cops on payroll like that? We spoke with a cartel member last night that alleged that one of the ways it gets through is paying off Border Patrol, paying off police.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that. I know from the years that I've worked that we've had compromised Border Patrol agents, we've had compromised officers. So same thing, they make a lucrative offer to somebody who
I didn't know
is
American
not
cops
making
were
very
so
much
easy.
money, and people compromise their integrity for that. And
Have you ever had to fire somebody because you caught them doing that?
yep, we worked a case when I was working undercover. We had one of our guys that was involved, and we had to work a case on him and ultimately arrested him with the
Bro, this
help of
corruption
the
never
FBI.
gonna stop,
No,
bro. Bro, you don't. He could be getting a payroll. It's levels to it, bro. That's why you can't snitch. Because once you snitch, one of the cops who underneath the payroll going, "Hey, man, You
YRZWRLD
can't
donated
trust.
$2. FAMMM much love UNC, may God continue to bless you and your family. Just wanted to say WSG and ask if you watched that Knicks Pacers game highlights yet.
If you should, yes, definitely did, dog. Thank you so much, YRZ World. Appreciate the love, dog. It's crazy, bro. Everybody, bro, you just can't trust. Go in protective custody, bro. You think somehow gonna find that, bro, for the right price, bro. It's a dangerous game out here, bro.
I'm gonna throw out the number he said, which I think is kind of crazy, but I want your take on it.
right.
He said, about 60-70% of the Border Patrol and cops.
No, he's full of shit. Not on the U.S. side. The Mexico cops are more easily compromised, and on that side, it is the threat of violence because
Yeah.
way back when we talked to a compromised Mexico police officer, and he told us it was as simple as this. I was trying to be a good local cop. I was just watching traffic and I was stopping speeders, and I got blocked in
Woody
by two
Cootie
vehicles,
donated
and a guy
$2.
gets in the
A lot
passenger
of times
side,
they are
and
forced
he said,
to go on
"Hey,
a
you know who I
salary
am?"
cause if they deny, then good night to them.
That's what I'm saying. So chat, let's talk about it. So let's say a cartel member come up to you, bro. You doing your job. You're not corrupt. Everything good. A boy come up to you and say, "Hey man, take this money every single month," or Lassie Angela, your wife. What you gonna do? You gonna take that money? You gonna bring some flowers home with a bottle of wine? You going 2 bottles? You gonna sit there and have a long talk with her? Like, what you want to do? You know my family. I'm taking a break, even if they don't got threatened to harm me.
And he said, I knew who he was. He was a local cartel boss. And he said, hey, we want you to work for us. All you have to do is not be on this road from these times to these times, right? And the guy said, no, I'm not. I'm an upstanding citizen. I'm not part of your crew, none of that crap. They said, okay, here's a picture of your wife and family.
Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you? even come with the checks. They are, bro. Oh my goodness. I called it out, chat. You gon' fold. I'm gonna give you an offer that you cannot refuse. That's in Godfather. Dirty game.
Family, and we have eyes on them right now. And you basically have 60 seconds to make your choice, whether you're with us or against us. And if you're against us, then your family's going to pay the price, right? And so all I had to do was not watch this road and keep my family alive.
Daddy, that's a red dot on mommy's forehead. What you doing? Come on, man.
And so it wasn't much money at all, dude. You're talking a couple grand, and for that particular time, right? We think that he had done it more than that, but you're talking a couple grand is what he had compromised himself for.
I couldn't believe and didn't
Can't
quite buy the
compromise my
numbers
morals
that
for evil,
many
bro.
U.S. Border Patrol agents
Aight.
or U.S. cops were bought and paid for by the Mexican cartel.
just-
So I
you
called
just
another
added-
Sinaloa contact of mine to see if he could add some insight on those numbers. Here's what he said. Would you agree with the stat, 60 to 70% of them?
I would say like 80% that they either want drugs or money. Some of them don't even have a choice. If you say no to the amount of money, you know, like food, you don't have a f***ing choice. You feel me? We control you. I have a couple of them that go pick up my people and pass them over. You feel me? All you have to do is follow instructions.
What is the cost to buy a Border Patrol agent?
A week, 9,500. But remember, some of them would get
Border Patrol agent.
a week, 9,500.
9,500, bro. That is good pay. That is good pay, bro. A week? So you getting at least 30 bands a month on top of your regular salary? Man, you ain't got 30-some people families. They've been waiting already.
Woody Pooty donated $2. The cartel would make me name 5 DDG songs.
Remember, some of them would get a kilo. You know, some of them want some kilos, some of them want some yellow. You feel me? So some of them want money, so some of them drugs.
Even after talking to this guy, I still doubt those numbers. I feel like these guys only come in contact with Border Patrol agents that are corrupted, so in their view, all of them are. But I just can't believe that the majority of Border Patrol agents are bought. I just don't think it's true. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
What you make in a day here?
Well, I
and what you
believe
make in a
that.
month over there. My brothers live off $150 a month.
Tommy G, I think in some type of way, you been bought. Like, fam, like, what the...
USD. Let that shit
Come
down.
on.
I can make
Man,
that in,
come on,
in
man.
one cell. You one transaction. You give me, I can make way more than that in one transaction and send that over right there.
In a good month, how many guns can you get across the border?
I want to say close to 1,000.
1,000 guns?
Close to 1,000.
The cartel guy we spoke to last night claimed that in a typical month, he might be able to get 1,000 guns across the border.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's credible?
Yeah, that's absolutely credible.
Is it even possible that he's downplaying it?
Probably, yeah, because he's not wanting to get his bosses in trouble.
So you have a few runners
Yeah.
daily going.
Yeah.
Is it with Border Patrol too? You can buy off Border Patrol?
Oh, definitely.
So like you have to,
That's
'cause
crazy.
obviously
They
you
know
don't
the
just
corruption is
stroll
going
up
down.
there and ask,
They
like, you
know
have
it's
to
going
meet
down.
them
They
at a
can't do nothing
bar, do you
about
have
it.
to, like,
It's
how do
that
you
much. They got
initiate
that
this?
much
They sent
power.
to train.
What does that mean?
They're sent to the academy.
Tell me about the clashes going on right now.
Yeah, I watch Snowfall.
Are things fairly stable or is there a lot of battles happening?
No, right? I mean, there's always going to be, you know, a tug of war between powers.
Good and evil.
It goes through its dormant times. Right now, it's active.
The danger he's speaking of refers to the war currently happening within the Sinaloa cartel. Since El Chapo's imprisonment in 2017, the group has splintered, with two main factions now holding power. One is led by El Mayo, a co-founder of Sinaloa, and some say El Chapo's equal. The other is
did
Los
somebody say this in the
Chapitos,
chat,
led
El
by El
Mayo?
Chapo's sons, known for being younger, flashier, and more aggressive. Their turf war has triggered waves of violence, including this recent story detailing the deaths of dozens of teens in Mexico. And from what I've heard from sources close to the action, this fighting is not expected to end anytime soon. What attracted you to this lifestyle?
Honestly, the adrenaline.
Is it terrifying working for a cartel?
Stressful, not terrified.
So as long as you follow the rules and kind of do honest business, you're kind of in good standing. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, you do business as a man.
The one thing I wanted to fact check on to see if you had a perspective on is Trump's claim that the majority of people coming over are murderers and rapists. In my boots on the ground journalism, I found out most of the people are just looking for a factory job, fast food job. Right. They're not a murderer. Do you feel like that?
Who's gonna tell you that, Tommy G? Boy, you got me sleeping right here, boy. Who's gonna sit right here and tell you, yeah, I'm a murderer, I do all this right here too? I understand he trying to say they're all not bad, and yes, I know. Trust me, I know. You know, but who gonna tell you that they are?
That rhetoric was accurate or a little overblown?
I would say that depends on the area, dude. Because like this area right now, we see military-aged males all camoed out, moving up, and those males are all at that ripe gangster age, and a lot of them, when we jump the groups, they are gang members. So if you're talking this area, absolutely, he's absolutely right. This is Thugville out here, man. It's all gangsters, cartel members, guys that are trying to fly under the radar. You'll have a few good people mixed in with that are really just looking for a better life. Mm-hmm. The other problem that we saw here in Arizona was a lot of these military-age males, when they got to the border and got across into the U.S., they immediately discarded their passport.
Thugville.
Any IDs, anything like that. They got rid of them, burned them, whatever they could do with them. Why the hell are you going to get rid of your ID if you're not up to something nefarious?
So it did seem sinister.
Yes, absolutely.
Once you're in this, is it possible to leave, or are you pretty much in it for, for life?
Oh, you're in it for life?
You can step away. Easiest way to put it, you're a reservist at that point. As long as all your corners are covered, you turn into a reservist. So if you're needed and you're called up, you better show up.
How dangerous
that
is it
means
for
for life?
Do this interview?
I'm risking a lot doing this. I'll put it that way, I'm risking my life. Let's just say that.
And folks, for all the readers out there, get this book. I got the link in the description. If you want to learn more about real boots on the ground law enforcement experience, I recommend you get it. Links in the description. Power and legends of the Mexican cartels have long fascinated me, and it's my goal to cover the story in Mexico one day if I can find the right contacts to do this safely. Email me at tommygmcgee123@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram to reach me if you think this might be you. I also wanted to remind you guys to check.
Man, it's crazy, y'all. How y'all feel about this right here, bro? Do y'all feel like this ever gonna end? Even though Trump is in office and he's so for this right here, bro. I don't think it's ever gonna end, bro. You cannot stop corruption. Hell, politicians are corrupt, bro. Didn't was it Pablo Escobar, like? Was he close to being a mayor or something, bro? With how much money he had? In a way, bro, some of these politicians, bro, they be gangsters in suits. You know? And El Chapo. Yeah, bro, he was gonna be the president. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. Like, you never know people, personal agendas. Let me step in. Bro, the fact you over here watching Cash Nasty reaction, bro, you watching me, bro, you could be bought a little bit.